Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tommy Marks. I'm the director of the Virginia Minority Business Development Agency's Business Center and the vice president of the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council. Today, the center brings you the second in a series of webinars, The Voice from Behind the Screen. Again, good afternoon. I'm Tommy Marks, the voice that was behind the screen. I am the director of the Virginia Minority Business Development Agency's Business Center located in Alexandria, Virginia, which is operated by the Capital Region Minority Supply Development Council and led by the spectacular Sharon R. Pender, our president and CEO. And we bring to you today the second series of our webinars that are both educational, informational, and valuable to help companies grow and scale their business. Our guest today will come from the United States Department of Treasury, and I'll talk about him a little more, but Mr. Brian Watson representing Donna Rigucci, who is the senior executive and the director for small business for the Department of Treasury. We do these in order to, again, help grow and scale your business. Very informational. The discussion today was targeted toward minority businesses, the minority business community, and Brian and I will discuss how to do business with Treasury, but also how you gain access to government contracts, and share some important, insightful insight, some tools, and training resources to arm the minority business enterprise community with what you need to know. So I want to welcome you for coming and being here. This is, we were told almost probably sold out, couldn't get another link to get in to see Brian. That's how this has been going. But let me tell you a little bit about, and I won't eulogize him, but you got to know, most of us like to know who's talking to us and where they come from. Well, you know, he hails right now from the Department of Treasury. He's a business analyst and the program manager for the Mentor Protege program. And I get a lot of questions about Mentor Protege programs. He's in charge of their forecasting and their small business goaling that Treasury is responsible for. And he also, that's only one hat. He's also responsible for their small business policy and compliance, which is really a key to ensuring that folks are doing what they're supposed to do. He's also your point of contact. If you're a service-disabled veteran, you're looking right at the man in Treasury that you want to talk to. And, you know, during this time, you know, he's counseled more than 1,000 businesses. But, you know, before he got to doing this, and he's probably modest and wouldn't tell us, Brian was the CEO of Empowering People Community Development Corporation, which is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit that was responsible for job assistance, housing, and financial assistance to low-income and disadvantaged individuals. And they provided the same type of work we're doing here, consultation and helping small businesses in order to grow their businesses. Now, one would say, why is he so passionate? That really comes from observing his parents, who owned and operated a small disadvantaged business located in an unserved community in Baltimore for over 60 years and expanding to become successful entrepreneurs. So we want to welcome Brian in here with us today as he represents Donna Rigucci. And Brian, it's good to see you again. We're not strangers. And so I know we're going to have a good time here. So I will turn it over to you so that you can share with us, you know, an overview of your agency, and then we will begin the discussion. I want to unmute, Brian.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks again, Tommy Marks. It's really a joy. It's really a pleasure to be here today and to just speak to, you know, the small businesses. As you know, many of the federal government employees are now working remote access. That's me. And so, oftentimes I'm, sitting in my home office with me and the cat is getting on my nerves. I'm getting on the cat nerves. And we kind of go through that. And then also, I just recently went to the doctor's office, so gained a little weight. So the doctor told me that I had to start getting in my 10,000 steps a day. So I always enjoy, reaching out to small businesses. And also, we're looking forward, particularly in Treasury, to start with our vendor outreach, where we can start to do the face-to-face, the one-on-one matchmaking and counseling sessions. And we can talk a little bit more about that later. But when we discuss the overview of Treasury, so basically at a very high level, and I was just taking a look at our strategic plan the other day to kind of prepare for this meeting. So at the very high level, Treasury have several goals and objectives. So one of those goals is to help to enhance and stabilize the growth of the American economy. And that's the goal which Treasury OSDBU directly fits under. And the reason why Treasury OSDBU directly fits under that goal, because in the Office of Treasury OSDBU, we are directly responsible for writing policy. So we write policy for our small business program offices. We write policy for acquisitions. We write policy for all of the bureaus that support the Treasury agencies. So our policy go out Treasury wide, and our policy is designed and geared to encourage more activity and participation in awarding contract opportunities to small business. So in Treasury OSDBU, of course, we do a lot more than that, as you mentioned, the goaling efforts and small business compliance reviews and the forecasting. We also do other things regarding the vendor outreach activities, both to our internal and external stakeholders. But our primary goal is to make sure that there's an increased opportunity to small businesses. And one of the things, particularly, you already mentioned a lot of what I do, and thank you for that. But one of my particular efforts this year is going to be focused in on engaging more with our OCIO community. So, what I mean by that, like actually going into the office, of the OCIO and talk to them about, requirements, and talk to them about their vision and their mission, about their expectations regarding IT security and information systems, and get a little bit more information regarding their hardware and their software and their future virtual needs. And as I collect that information, I'll be sharing that more with the small businesses, resource centers like the MBDA and PTAC and things of that nature. So, it's a lot more to come with Treasury. And of course, because MBDA is, we like to say, an industry partner of Treasury, as we get the information, we'll filter it on to your group as well. Yep.
Okay. So Brian, we're going to start off with the first question. Did you want anything on the screen or before we start?
No, we good.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
We good.
So here's what I'm told. This is a loaded question. Okay.
Okay.
But who at the Treasury, who are the Treasury bureaus, who's who, and what are the missions?
Okay, so that is kind of like a loaded question. Good questions. You put me to work here. So my thought process is that, okay, who's who in Treasury? So we think about the assistant secretary, at the very high level. We think about the ASM, who manages program offices within Treasury. That's at a high level. We think about the senior procurement executive, again, at a high level. And then we have the Donna Ragusi's directors. And all those folks is at the high level. But as far as who's who, I would say regarding the community of small businesses that I'm speaking to today, would definitely be the OSDBU director and the borough chief procurement officer. So that's like the who. The problem with the borough chief procurement officers is that, you know, they have a lot of direct responsibilities regarding managing their contracting officers and leading their acquisition teams. And, you know, oftentimes those BCPOs are just very hard to get in contact with. So for the community that I'm speaking today, I believe that you definitely want to be able to, you know, get in contact with our small business specialists. You want to be able to get in contact with contracting officers, and you want to be able to get in contact with, you know, the OSDBU team. I myself, Donna Lugusi, the director, Lisa Jenkins, and we're working to bring on 2 additional staff members. And then as we continue out through our discussions, I'll talk a little bit more about how to get direct access to the small business specialists and to the OSDBU team. So more to come. And then the other thing, Tommy, I just wanted to kind of mention, because we have like 13 bureaus under Treasury. So, you know, of course, we got the IRS that everybody familiar with, and we can talk a little bit more about that requirement as, you know, the conversation goes along. And then we also have the Office of Comptroller and Currency. They have procurement authority. So you got IRS with procurement authority, OCC with procurement authority. And then you got the Bureau of Physical Services. So they also have procurement authority. And then you got the Bureau of Engraving and Printing with, you know, they doesn't have it. And then you got MIT that has procurement authority. And then you got OIG, Office of Inspector General. Okay, they have procurement authority. And then also one brief correction, component of the BEP, they have procurement authority. So just wanted to kind of mention those because those particular bureaus are able to directly buy products and services, and they can engage in contracts. So,
okay. No, yeah. Actually, you got into my head because that was the next question, really, that they did not prime the pump. Like, you know, who are those folks that in procurement authority? Obviously, from a simplistic standpoint, these are people that really got mission and money,
right,
in order to
right
to do contracts. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right. And then also what I want to say, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but, you know, really what the small businesses want to do is they want to attend some of our vendor outreach sessions and, you know, meet with our small business specialists one-on-one, you know, provide their capability statement, do a little homework, you know, and homework is just simply, you know, learning more about the agency. And you can click on the agency's website and go out to an agency's strategic plan, and you can learn a whole lot more about that agency. And what they really want to do is based on their research and findings, when they sit down with the small business specialist, they want to have a conversation. And in that conversation, they want to be able to explain how they do know a little about that agency. And that, in fact, goes a long way. That and learning about the agencies and looking at the forecasting opportunities and then matching up their skill sets and core competencies and their experiences along with the opportunities that are on the forecast, and then going before a small business specialist and then communicating to them how they can actually, you know, provide services to satisfy that requirement. That kind of like is the first step in getting them in the door. And that's kind of what we call homework. But just want to throw that in there.
Okay. So Brian, I know before COVID, I mean, one of the things that Treasury did as a team, what was those vendor outreaches? You know, when those are going to start, they were very popular in order to be able to get to, you know, really to talk with folks that were open and transparent. We know when those are going to start again?
Yes, sir. Well, they're going to start back up in FY 2023. Lisa Jenkins, I'm sure, or Melissa Jenkins, I'm sure, as you know, many people are aware of, she's like a vendor outreach guru, and she's responsible for many of our, or all of our internal and external stakeholder engagement. So she's working on a particular website that's placed out on Treasury OSDBU's website, which we can discuss a little bit later, and it houses our calendar of events and kind of provides the small business specialists with the activities that's going to be going on, in Treasury and external to Treasury. So, and that's our not public facing website. And then I'll kind of, share with the small businesses how they can get access to that website as well too when I do an introduction.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also one more thing, because what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to, pour my heart into making sure that, the small businesses, get everything that's kind of going on in my head, because it's a lot. It's been a while since we, started back to engage with the small businesses. And so one of the things in particular, and we discuss this often in our staff meetings, is that, we understand the pain points and, having to conduct vendor outreach matchmaking sessions online. We know that there's a missing element, and that personal connection, that energy, that passion that, the small businesses bring to the table, and that, physical distribution of business cards to business cards. And it's important for the small business specialists to be able to get back out and to start doing that. But it's important for us at OSDBU to do that as well too. And I'll tell you why, Tommy, because, yesterday, I had another, speaking engagement. And then afterwards, we did matchmaking. And, when I was actually communicating with the small business, with the small businesses, I was writing down on the business cards the unique things that I noticed about them. And then I would say, okay, give me a call. And when they give me a call, I would tell them specific things. Okay, we had a conversation about, our business partnership network, or we had a conversation about our subcontracting. And that I remember, and then I remember the face, and then I get them on my calendar. So those are just some of the things that, I think the entire small business community needs to really get back to, is the one-on-one matchmaking events and, meeting with the small businesses, directly. So just wanted to kind of add that.
Okay. You mentioned about the Treasury's business partnership program. Can you expound upon that?
Yeah, so this is a program that we recently revised in FY 2022. So it was formerly called the Mentor Protege Program, but since then we've done a name change, we kind of revised in the scope, and we kind of making some adjustments to the program so that it's customized for Treasury specific. So those changes are going to be undergoing, within this month. However, if there are any small businesses that are interested in applying for the program, they can just go out to our website directly, www.treasury.gov. And if you click on the Policy Issues tab, it'll take you to another screen. And then if you scroll down to the right side of that page, all the way at the bottom, you'll see a link regarding the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. And then once you click on that link, it'll open you up to a wealth of information about, the OSDBU. And so as you scroll down on that web page, you'll be able to find, it's called Mentor Protege, but it's being renamed to be called the Business Partnership Network. And basically you click on that link and it'll tell you all about, our program, and it'll also provide an application to, complete and send back to me for review and approval. And then typically after I approve the applications, then I'll submit to the small businesses an agreement. And that's just agreement from the small business to the large business regarding what type of training, what type of financial efforts, what type of operational guidance, what type of managerial teachings, what type of leadership they're going to provide to the small businesses directly. And so, the agreement is we ask that the mentor actually fill out the agreement because they are committing to really help the small businesses and that's what we want. And then after I, look over the agreement, we'll typically approve the agreements, and then the small business will be able to have a connected and established relationship under Treasury's profile, working with mentor protege. But I can tell you the most requests that I typically get, Tommy, regarding the business partnership network is small businesses asking me, can I help them with finding a mentor? And I would like to do a whole lot more with helping them find a mentor. I mean, for instance, 4 years ago or 3 years ago, when I had more time, I could actually, walk them through that process and help to establish that connection. But now, with the goaling efforts, with the new efforts that we're doing under Executive Order 13895 to advance racial equity to minority businesses and undeserved communities. There's just so much going on where we're really depending on the small businesses to help identify their own mentors. However, and we can talk about this a little bit later as we discuss the forecasting tool. Right underneath the forecasting tool, what we have done to kind of help the small businesses in their efforts to, become a part of Treasury's Bureau Partnership Network is we provided our top 50 prime contractors in Treasury. So we put that information out there, and it's up to the small businesses to, click on or to identify who those top prime contractors are, and then start reaching out to them for a conversation about whether or not they would, consider, them being their a mentor, so to speak.
Right.
So, and then also as a component of that, we also encourage our small business community because, a lot of times small businesses may not be ready for the large, contract within Treasury. So we also encourage them to reach out to our top prime contractors for subcontract opportunities. In FY 2023, we require any contract that's over $750,000 typically require a subcontracting plan, and we typically focus and encourage our small businesses to go after those subcontracting opportunities to get work as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So during that conversation, you mentioned about the forecast. So how do we gain access to the Treasury contract opportunities?
Okay, so that's like the number one question here. So earlier where I briefly explained how to, log on to Treasury's website, and I'll just kind of do a quick run through again. So you go out to www.treasury.gov, and then you click on policy issues. And then after that, you go to the right bottom side of the page, click on OSDBU. But since we get into this whole conversation regarding forecast, it's a couple of things that, I encourage the small businesses to do. Right under before you click on that OSDBU link, I want you to take a look at the Small Business Lending Fund. That's, SBLF. And if you click on that link, it'll give you a detailed description regarding Small Business Lending Fund. Small businesses want to know more about, how to get loans and how to get access to capital. That's where they want to go to. Had a brief conversation with OSDBU. We're going to do a lot more to engage with the SBLF because it's very important to us. And I can tell you why, Tommy. I don't mean to go off in another direction, but I think it's all connected. That under Treasury's goal and objective to strengthen the growth of the economy, and I kind of read through this, And, I highlighted two things. They want the OSDBU to provide, support services to minorities in undeserved communities. And that's kind of, what we're doing here. I'm providing information to small minority businesses to, help them out. The second thing that under Goal and Objective 1, they want us to increase access to capital to those minorities and to those struggling small businesses. So that's kind of like very, very, important. So when we talk about SBLF, and then also, at that same spot on the website, you got Small Business Credit Initiative. Another great resource, to, help lending, not just to small businesses, but to individuals and to communities, help, underdeveloped communities and help the small businesses as well too. So they could click on those two resources, and they can get, access to point of contact that could actually give them, more information about their programs. And if they need any assistance for point of contact, they can reach out to OSDBU as well. But definitely in the near future, we're going to be connecting more, with their programs, because as I already mentioned, under strategic goals, we want to provide more access to capital as well as provide resources and information like the forecast. Okay, so now that I said that, again, if you're on the website, if you click under the OSDBU link, again, it'll take you back out to our webpage. And if you scroll down to the middle of the script of the webpage, you'll see forecasting. And then Tommy, they can just click on that forecasting link. When they click on the forecasting link, they're going to scroll further down to the middle of the screen, and they're going to see something that says FY 2022 Treasury Dynamic Forecast Tool. So right now, it's still listed as FY 2022. Well, why is that? Because next Friday, it's going to change over to FY 2023 forecast database. And that's when all of our new requirements are going to show. And that's when, the small business can start to go in and start to research, the requirements that is currently in Treasury. However, as it stands right now, the IRS has a very unique process in place. So they were able to provide us with some of their FY 2023 requirements early. So if a bureau, when they're out on the forecast database, if they click on new in IRS, all of the IRS new requirements will appear. And I tell you, Tommy, it was over 200 requirements that was there. And a lot was IT, but they also had some other program requirements as well too. And I know we're discussing that, but I just wanted to kind of quickly share with the people, because I know, throughout our conversation, the bottom line, if you're a small business, if you're an emerging small business, if you're a struggling small business, if you're a mature small business, you're interested in those forecasted requirements, because, it helps you. It helps you to prepare early on in the acquisition process. And as I mentioned earlier, it helps you that when you sit down at the table with the small business specialist and let them know that you've already, identified a requirement that you can actually fill, and you can actually tell them, how, your organization is set up to satisfy that requirement. That goes a long way in, getting to the program manager. So for the IRS, particularly, since, their requirement is out on the Treasury tool right now, just wanted to kind of mention some of the requirements that's out there under the IRS. So we got software licenses, we got cybersecurity services, we got telecommunication services, we got Citrix support services, we got security system services, we got IT cabling and hardware, we got virtual training, we got renewed services for Design Pro tools, we got other software services under the IRS, we got professional consulting services, and then we got 3Play media services. And then we also got, custom coding. And, you know, I met with a small business yesterday. He was like, Brian, you mentioned custom coding. He's like, custom coding on what? I'm like, I don't know. We got to reach out to your point of, you know, contacts on the forecasting inventory and ask them custom coding regarding what? You know, sometimes our requirements can be kind of vague. Sometimes our requirements shift. Sometimes those forecast, you know, requirements go away. And we actually have a disclaimer on our website. But a lot of times, more than often, those requirements actually materialize into, you know, a request for a proposal. And this is just simply putting the, you know, small businesses, you know, ahead of the table, ahead of the game, and, you know, coordinating with their teams and making sure that they are ready when the opportunity actually comes out. And that's only just some of the IT requirements. You know, I didn't list them all, but that's enough to get, you know, to get an IT firm or get a firm that's other than IT, because like I said, they had a lot of non-IT requirements, had that out there on the website. So just wanted to mention that.
Okay. No, that's,
we talk about
great.
Forecasting.
Right. So we got a few questions in the chat from the audience, and we're going to open that up and entertain some of those. In fact, there are 18 questions there right now, Brian, and growing.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So,
all right.
So I'm gonna let Alice and Claudia look at the 19 questions that are populated and ask.
So
okay.
Go ahead, Alice.
Good afternoon, Mr. Marks and Mr. Watson. You gave us a lot of information. I believe some of these questions you have already addressed, but some are very specific.
Right.
So I at least want to entertain some of the questions that's on here. The first question we had is from Arlington Consulting Group, and you talked about the IRS requirements and where to find the forecasting and so forth. Their specific question was, you know, they're an 8A company. Can they find 8A opportunities on the IRS website? Where are they? Are they meeting their quota?
Okay, good question. So, okay, so if you actually go out to the forecast tool, and then if you do as I recommend and select new, and then if you select IRS, within that menu screen, we have like different types of small business socioeconomic categories. So you'll have, you know, you can select 8A, specific, or you could select hub zone, specific, or you could select service disabled veteran owned small business, specific, or you could select woman owned small business, specific. And then once you do that, and then you run the inventory report, it will provide you with the requirements specifically to the social economic category that you requested. The reason why I typically tell these small businesses to just run the entire report, download it into Excel, and then sort the report into your specific requirement needs. I typically tell the small businesses that because when you start to get like real specific regarding 8A or competition type or acquisition strategy, when you hit that button, you'll go from like 200 to like 3. I'm like, okay. So it's like now you just kind of minimize your opportunities. So I strongly, you know, encourage just to, you know, even though we'll have some 8A set aside, or maybe 8A set or 8A sole source, but your number of opportunities that you'll get to take a look at will tremendously increase if you just run, you know, the full report.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alice?
Thank you so much. Next question. The conversation you had with OCI, did you get a sense of the 2023 initiatives that involves data analytics?
Okay. Got me thinking here. So, no, but I got some homework because I do need to reach out and discuss data analytics. Now, when we say data, when I reach out to them, and that individual, you know, whoever it is, we can have a conversation offline, because would it be data analytics as regarding their contract needs? in Treasury? Or would it be data analytics regarding some sort of specific section within the OCIO, office? So I would probably need, a little bit more information regarding data analytics. Now, if it's data analytics regarding contracts that they're going to be awarding to small businesses, in which they're going to need small businesses to provide data analytics services, come next Friday, when we have our full inventory posted out on the website, they should be able to access that direct information. And then the other thing is that, so I myself right now, I'm in the process of engaging with our OCIO, but Donna at her level is engaging directly with the Chief Information Officer and with the Senior Procurement Executive. So I know that they're having conversations at that level as well too. So we'll, we can, I guess, more information, regarding that is forthcoming. But one of the things that she shared that, as a result of their meetings is they want us to identify all contracts that are IT related on the forecast of inventory. So which means that you'll be able to see right up front that, okay, it's a direct IT requirement. And so I'm still in the process of coordinating with the development team, and that's going to be like an enhancement that we're going to add to our tool real soon, because,
Okay.
we do know that, there's a need. Yeah.
Very good. The next question, Brian, is there a published venue list for your outreach sessions?
Absolutely. So on that website that I gave to you, you'll see at the top part of the screen, it has something, calendar of events for internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. So internally, as Tommy mentioned, prior to COVID-19, we were having lots of vendor outreach sessions specific to Treasury. In FY 2023, Donna has decided to start back with our quarterly vendor outreach sessions. So which means that with the quarterly vendor outreach sessions, small businesses will be able to come to a Treasury specific vendor outreach in which they could actually, talk face to face with a small business specialist at the IRS, at the Office of Comptroller Currency, they have a small business specialist. Bureau of Fiscal Services, they have their designated small business specialist. The small businesses will be able to reach out and, connect directly at the Treasury InReach VOSs. And I'm not sure if that's posted out on our calendar right now, but it's coming. And while we're talking about that, it's very important that, small businesses register to participate and register for our e-capability system. So we have an e-capability system where small businesses can actually log on and load in their capability statement. It's kind of cool, and load in a lot of good information regarding their small business. And I'll tell you why it's so important. It's important because in addition to us having the e-capability system, we kind of strengthen the other component of that system that we call a market research tool. So what we did was we provided our acquisition professionals, our program managers, our folks that's in small business program offices direct access to our market research tool to access our e-cape system, which means that, a small business that can load in their e-capability system and then be visible to many of the, hiring folks or acquisition folks in Treasury, which is kind of new. So it's kind of cool. So I encourage, the small businesses that are listening in today to, when you get the opportunity, register your business with Treasury's e-capability statement system. Okay.
Great.
Mr. Watson, our list is growing, so we have about 20-something questions, so I'll try to get through as many as
Okay.
possible. The
Yes,
next
ma'am.
question is from Tyler Data. Their company designs a tool that helps analysts find patterns in the big data for compliance purposes for agencies such as the IRS and FNRA. They would like to know who can they talk to within the Treasury Department to gain more information, and does the Treasury use knowledge graphs?
Y'all are loaded today. Okay, so I have a special appreciation for that question because prior to coming to OSDBU, I served as a IT project manager for financial systems that's highly visible and complex in scope. Really, this individual may have to kind of reach out to me directly. So let me pause there. Regarding the knowledge graph, we don't do a whole lot, based on my understanding and based on what I've seen, we don't do a whole lot with knowledge graphs. However, we need to. It's needed. But it's one of those things where it's kind of needed, but until we have a small business presenting their ideas before the OCIO and show them how neat these graphs can be used, it probably won't happen. So within this whole question, I typically, and because I have a strong background in IT, I typically refer those individuals to have a conversation with me on the side so we can kind of, navigate through the forecast to see if there's a requirement that they could kind of fill, even if it's a component of the requirement. And then also sometimes, in IT, the services is just so unique that they really kind of need to get in front of someone from OCIO so that they can explain to them, in their language, how that product can help them. Because, oftentimes, the small business specialists, they are typically, have strong backgrounds in acquisitions and they have strong backgrounds as contracting officers. But when you start to get into the nuts and bolts of IT, it kind of gets complicated. So I'm going to defer that question for the individual to reach out to me directly. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to initiate more with the OCIO office, because there's a community of people that really should be able to demo or to communicate, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes, how their products and services can help, enhance Treasury's IT platform. And it's so hard to crack that egg and to get in. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be working on, with the OCIO to see if we can do more engagement between the small business community and that Office of Chief Information Officer. So I would also like that individual to call me as well.
Okay.
If that's
so,
okay.
Claudia, if you would put Brian's contact information in the chat.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. The next question is a very good question because I often don't hear the answer to this question, but how is information about simplified acquisition disseminated?
Okay, so years ago, we used to actually run a report regarding our simplified acquisition threshold, just to, stay a pulse. Just to keep pulse as to what's going on and to, just check to make sure that, a large percentage of those contracts is going to small businesses. And I'll tell you why that's important, because under the SAT, which is $250,000. We want those contracts to be set aside and to go to small businesses if they, if small businesses can actually provide their services. As it stands today, running that SAT report, we no longer do that. But however, because I recognize, or because OSDBU recognize a need, we do have a tab on our forecasting tool where they could click on and they could see all of our contract opportunities that's under $250,000 specifically for them. And then, and then we also have a tab for all of our contracting opportunities that's $10,000 and under. But for those opportunities, because, there will be no RFP for those, we just ask that the small businesses come ready with being able to access or provide products and services by using their credit card. And that's an individual process that they have to sign up for. But, we call it the low hanging fruit. But on our forecasting tool, we do have contract opportunities under 10,000, and then we have contracting opportunities under 250,000 that we typically like to set aside for small businesses, but small businesses have to apply that really and be able to show that they could, perform the service. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. The next question is, from an industry perspective, what is needed when doing business with the Department of Treasury?
Okay. From an industry perspective, well, the first thing I would ask you to, so for instance, we consider MBDA an industry partner of Treasury. Donna is connected to Tommy Marks. Lisa is connected. We're invested. We will include some of their events on our calendar of external events. So, okay, so that's fine. So if a new industry that provides services to the small business community or provides information to the small business community wants to get connected with Treasury, I would encourage them to reach out directly to Lisa Jenkins, and the conversations will start there.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, because if we could do the tie-in with them providing services to small businesses, then what will happen is that, ultimately they would also get on our external calendar, and they would also can be referred in our conversations as external partners or stakeholders. So, yeah.
Claudia, you have Lisa's contact information. Place that in the chat, please.
Now she just had like a name change. So
we have it. We have it. We have it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
I hope
James
you don't get
anymore.
me
It's Oveta, I think. OVATA, what I remember. But Claudia has it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tell her she can't hide.
I hope
she can't
she'll be
hide.
mad at me.
She can't hide. I got her. Put it in the chat, Claudia. Put it in the chat. Okay.
Okay, the next question involves the mentor protege program. So the mentor protege program, is it specific to Treasury, or is this the same as the SBA's mentor protege program?
Okay, so years ago we had a program that was under the SBA, but as of now, it's a non-SBA program. And that's, part of the reason why, we also going, we're going to do a name change. We're going to do revisions. We're going to kind of change the scope because we're not connected, at this point to Treasury Mentor Protege program. Right now, this is specifically going to be an in-house system that, is going to be designed specifically for individuals who are looking to connect and do business with Treasury. Yeah, it's a Treasury specific program.
Yeah, Brian, if I could add to that, we know that several years ago, you really only had DOD had its own mentor protege program and a couple of select agencies, and then the SBA. But since then, Congress has, all the federal agencies need to look at doing similar thing with mentor proteges. And so that's why based on what Brian is saying, Treasury is setting theirs up specifically for Treasury. But it's the model is, and the mission is really the same, putting a small business with a large business or a small business prime that has primed, been successful, in order to help that business grow.
Yeah. So we're talking about growth. And, so specifically, I believe one of our changes is going to focus, a lot more on the subcontracting opportunities. So that just often go, underlooked, but it's so important because that's where a lot of the smaller business can actually get their start, within, a federal organization. So we can focus more on those subcontracting opportunities and getting, more of the undeserved, minority small businesses, help them to get their foot in the door. So yeah, but you're right, it's all about growth.
Right, and it's big. We talk crime, but there's billions of dollars in subcontracting that is reported every year. So it's not chump change for sure. Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
We got about 10 minutes. Alice, a few more questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Couple
much.
more questions.
Brian, the next question, on your forecast opportunity list, are there any requirements related to the Inflation Reduction Act?
So I haven't seen any. But let me make a note to because I know that question is going to come up again, Inflation Reduction Act, because the first thing I will have to figure out is what bureau is going to be kind of more oriented to having those type of requirements, and then I could, start a search from there. So as of right now, no, I haven't seen any, but I'm going to keep my eye out and kind of see if anything comes out regarding the Inflation Reduction Act. And definitely I want that individual to check out forecast next Friday to see if they find anything regarding that as well. And if they do, I want them to kind of, notify me so we can look at it from two angles. I can search and they can search as well too. Yep.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian. The next question is a statistic question. I'm not sure if you have it readily available, but you may. What is the percentage of contracts that have been given to small businesses that are 750K or more?
Okay. Boy, let's see. I don't know that question, but I can tell the individuals that we are really monitoring that type of information because, as we have new entrants, to Treasury, we want to make sure that our small business pool is diversified. So we want to make sure new individuals who are small business owners also get their share of contracting opportunities within Treasury. But right off the hand, I don't know that question. I could probably get it if I run an FPDS-NG report and then scroll through. Yeah, because it will show me that. So, okay, we got some homework for Brian. I can get that information in about, a week. So that's $750,000 that went to a small business, right? Did I say it right? $750,000.
Correct. 750 plus.
50 plus, okay, plus that went to a small business.
That is correct.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me do some homework regarding that. And I just want to quickly add that typically those contracts that, 700, as a threshold of $750,000, typically, they require a subcontracting plan. And that's the tie-in for small businesses to kind of, focus in on, subcontracting opportunities in Treasury. I just want to add that. Okay.
Okay.
Here's a great question. There's an information technology company that's a service-disabled retinal small business, women-owned small business that has commercial past performance experiences, but no federal past performance. Many large primes don't recognize commercial past performance. Are there other options to get into the federal space?
Okay. Commercial past performance. Now, if it's, okay, so typically we would want the small business to have a federal past performance, a good federal government past performance. Okay, but that's not all the case, all the time the case. Now, if they could have 3 strong past performance from the commercial sector, and if the past performance is, a considerable amount of money, not something like cheap change, but, like a considerable amount of money, then those past performances should be acceptable as well because they're credible, So, even though, they don't have the strong past performance from the federal, what I'm saying is that 3 strong past performances from what they did in the commercial sector, as long as they could show, certain skill sets, and as long as they could show certain core competencies and how they actually help the organization to meet results. And, and of course, at the corporations, they do past performances as well. It may not be similar to what's in the CPAWs, but, yeah, I'm saying that, that could still help them in moving along to getting a contracting opportunity within the federal space. Hope that answered the question.
That's a good response, because I was sitting here thinking there was a time when the federal government didn't even consider commercial past performance, and that is not the case anymore. But the past performance has to be equivalent to what you're going after, and in the complexity, and being able to show that you can do that work. So all is not lost, and that's the same thing with those primes. Now, I can't talk for the primes, but my background is federal government also. But if you've done a major project that's equivalent to what they're trying to go after, that past performance is good. And so we just need the right contracting officer looking at it. I'm gonna put that out.
That's
there.
right.
Right. So
okay.
I'm retired, so I can say that. Brian can't say that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's true. I can echo it. How about that?
There you go. All right. Well, look, I tell you, Brian, it's been great. We got a lot of questions. What we'll do is we will forward you those questions like we've done in the past with our panelists, and ask you just to take a look at them. Some of them, a lot of them, you probably already answered. Those are not, you can get, and we know you're busy, but and what we normally do is we'll take those responses, and everybody that signed up will get a copy of that. They'll get a copy of what you provided us. I think you sent the link to your site, and Claudia's going to send that to folks if it's not already in the chat. And then your contact information and Melissa's is in the chat.
Wow.
I greatly.
And I'm looking at.
You're looking at them questions.
Yeah. I'm looking at some questions, and I'm like, MBDA. I mean, y'all really come, prepared. And I just want to say that, I've, had a couple of last minute requests in dealing with your team, Tommy, and, from the IT person up to the person who set up the agenda. I mean, you really got a thorough group there. And I really kind of, appreciate just the, conversations that, I had with them at a very brief level. But I'm looking at your questions from your, just the amount of questions from the people in the audience, and it's refreshing. They're not just asking the regular same old question, how you actually access your forecast. No, they're taking a deep dive and challenging me and giving me homework. I talked about homework, but they're giving me homework, so I kind of I appreciate that energy, and I just want to encourage the small businesses out there, because these are challenging times. It really is, and I respect that. And I know we got to get ready to close out, Tommy, but I was just talking to a small business specialist. And I'm like, oh, you got to pay a few bills. But anyway, he was 6 months from closing down. I said, don't close down. Give me another 6 months. Hang in there. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, I'll tell you. So folks, we want to thank Brian and his leadership for allowing him to be here. And any follow-up questions you have, you can send them to us. But I want to close out by telling you, okay, so the center, all we do doesn't cost you anything, even though you see on the flyer it says this valued at $75. That's an auditing thing that we got to do. But look, we have some free resources at the center. You can contact me. We have the Dell Tech GovWin software, both for the federal and the state, local, and education. We know all the information comes from Sam, but I can tell you Dell Tech can make it simpler. So we share that. We also have a Govology software that is all types of training free, that at your leisure you can peruse. And another software piece we have is focused on the HR tool called GovFlex. And what that is, small business, we know you don't have all the backroom help. But if you need proposal writers, you can, from the seat of your home, review people. These are folks that they got government experience, non-government experience that you can peruse and get help. Now, what's next up for us? If you're in the state of Virginia, Swam Fest is back next week. It is one of the largest things that the Virginia Small Business Office does down in Richmond with exhibitors and contracting opportunities. That's in Richmond next week, 26, 27. November the 9th, we're going to team with the Department of Energy, and we're having a in-person and hybrid veteran-focused event led by Ron Pierce, the OSDBU there, and myself. And so we're going to have a federal panel along with a resource panel that's going to bring in the VIP, the Veterans Institute for Procurement, and the National Veterans Small Business Coalition folks. And we're trying to get from Larry Stubblefield's office, the SBA guru for veterans, his Veterans Business Opportunity Centers for entrepreneurs. And then December, I'm going to have defense contractors, the likes of BAE, Northrop Grumman, Leidos on a panel talking about what they do. And those are subcontracting opportunities based on the federal work that they do. Then hot off the press is an RFI from MBDA requesting, this is about access to capital. So this is the chance for you, and we have the link. I know Claudia's going to share it, but it's at the Federal Registry. It's open comments till December about the challenges that we have as small minority businesses in getting access to capital. This is your chance to, put those words out there. MBDA Undersecretary Craven and his crew are looking for comments so that they can work with the rest of the federal agencies that are playing in this pool to make it simpler, for access to capital. And finally, we're doing some things in this center, collaborating with the southern half of the state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, working with the Hampton Roads area, the city of Newport News, which is doing major redevelopment and looking for minority businesses from across the Commonwealth to come south if you're in Northern Virginia, and with the opportunities that they're having. So you can contact my office. The website is www.mbda-virginia spelled out.com. And Claudia put that in since I probably messed that up. But hey, look, we're open for business. All the services we provide, you've already paid for them as a taxpayer. That's what I will end with and tell you. We thank you wholeheartedly for being here. We were up to 217 people, Brian, that came on to listen to you, and still 166 are on hanging on. And so that tells me they were interested. So again, thank you for tuning in to, if I were a radio station, it'd be WVA MBDA. Tune in next time. Thank you, everybody.